Consider this your trigger warning. The following program is strictly satire and is not meant to be taken seriously. So don't get all butthurt, you liberal snowflakes, just because we skewer your sacred cows and expose all your lies and hypocrisy. Truth hurts, and so does satire. So grab a drink, pull up a chair, and enjoy the show.
All right, everyone, welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. It is Sunday Night Live. It is the zoo, and we're here with you guys. Lots going on this weekend. It is Martin Luther King Jr. Day tomorrow, but that doesn't mean the world is going to stop. That's an American holiday, an American recognition of a guy who actually wanted equal rights, not special rights. Martin Luther King Jr., a man who said they don't want to be judged by the color of their skin, but rather by the content of their character. So, calling on all characters, right? Look out. We're seeing the content of lots of character, and it ain't good. Anyways, folks, we got one heck of a show on my list. Everything I've got over here lined out, incredible topics. But this is Sunday Night Live. We're live on The Prepared Mind on YouTube and The Prepared Mind on YouTube and thepreparedmind.club and subscribestar.com, The Prepared Mind. We're on Uman's X channel, and we're probably going to get sent over to BitChute and Rumble as well. Lots of ways to keep an eye on what's going on in the world. And what's most important is that you are prepared with food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine. Means of self-defense, very important. Because when things get bad, you call the police and you're like, we need some help. They're going to tell you, quote, you are on your own. Sorry. End quote, click. Because that's what happened during the 2020 protests. You know, the mostly peaceful protests, the Summer of Love for St. George Floyd. Well, they're trying to push it. They're trying to push it. And they're trying to push it. Now, Sunday Night Live, I can put you on the screen no matter where you're at. Put you on the screen. There's a super chat button up here. And then in the video description down below are links for PayPal, Venmo, and CashApp. All three of those ways are how you can get your questions on the screen or the super chat button right there. Because I want to know what's on your mind. You know, it's not just the host. It's not just what's the headlines. It's you guys, the audience, steering the show, guiding the topics. And it really makes the show an exciting piece to do. Today, I am coming to you from the peace and solitude of my bunker library. I got to tell you, it's nice here. Very quiet, very peaceful. Kind of bunkerish, but, you know, peaceful nonetheless. And Uman says we got some great topics. We start off tonight. Important note for always on the show. A $50 or more super chat gets me an 18-year scotch. That's a Glenfiddich 18-year single malt scotch. But $100 super chat gets me a Mastery's bourbon whiskey, and they are in Florida, this distillery. So it is it's 100 proof, very strong bourbon. I haven't had any. I just peeled the label off. You can kind of see, ready to roll. Look at that. Oh, there it is. Woo! Got to keep the fighting spirits in this bottle for now. But we're going to start the show with a super chat from Darcy T, who is here every week, just like Chin Music and Dan the Man. And, well, so many people. Now I started naming names. I'm not going to name any more names. Let's do this. Let's get going. I think I owe Darcy T a shot anyways. I think she did $100 super. Anyways, I'm going to start with the bourbon whiskey out the gate just to give it a shot. Oh, and the 250th anniversary Marine Corps shot glass from pewter.com. The company is called Heritage Pewter, but their website is pewter, pewter.com. They made this. They made my flask. They make keychains. They make a lot of beautiful stuff. So let's get the show on the road, shall we? 100 proof bourbon whiskey, single malt scotch. It's going to be a good night. And I know it's going to be good because the topics that are out there waiting are incredible. Here's to you guys. Chance favors the prepared mind. Here's to you, Darcy T and all. Woo. Pretty damn good bourbon. Woo! Oh, yeah, that's a good one. Okay, so Darcy T's question, comment for the night. She says, so now it's all about the violent protests in Minneapolis. Trump is weighing the option of calling it an insurrection. Although I don't agree with his violent protests, calling this an insurrection is opening the door wider for our government to clamp down even further on the rights of all U.S. citizens. At this point, it doesn't really matter if the protesters are left or right. It's that the government is moving into dangerous territory. She's making some salient points here. She writes, we're quickly headed for a state that can round U.S. citizens up for the slightest infraction by calling it an insurrection, or passing sweeping legislation that will make it a crime to voice an opinion online that goes against their agenda. This is very bad for everyone. Now, Darcy brings up some very interesting thoughts here. Right? She's bringing up the slippery slope argument, which is a logical fallacy unless, in my opinion, unless you have a historical precedent for such actions happening and an escalation, and we're seeing that. I can't disagree with her. I don't think it's a logical fallacy. It's not jumping to conclusions by saying this can be taken out of context. Now, I don't agree with the violent protests. I agree with you protest, and if it doesn't work and it's that bad, you go right to removal of government officials by force and violence. That's how I think. I'm not calling anyone to do that. I'm not recommending it or anything bad, but violent protest is stupid because now you're fighting other protesters. You're fighting the police. The police aren't the problem. They're not legislating stupid laws. They're not making things difficult. Right? It's not the police that are the problem. It's the government above them. So getting violent with police during a protest is ridiculous. And it smacks of insurrection as well as mayhem. And mayhem is a felony. Now, let us continue, though, with her thoughts. She says, calling this an insurrection is opening the door wider for the government to clamp down even further on the rights of all U.S. citizens. Well, how do you get one group of citizens to agree with something that under every other circumstance they wouldn't agree to? Well, by framing the other half as the bad guys, then allowing for that escalation in government authoritarianism. And I think this is where Darcy T is pointing. You see, during the 2021 January 6th protests that became violent, the Democrats used that. They used that as a chance to call right-wing Republican conservative opposition an insurrection and then arrest everybody and use it as an excuse. So the lie, it was violent. Well, that was started by the sleepers, agents provocateurs, Metro Police in D.C., and FBI undercover agents. They started the violence. Then they called it an insurrection. And knowing already that the vote, the Electoral College vote was certified by Congress at that point. So now they could go hog wild, throw all the violence they want, make all the accusations. Joe Biden was declared president, even though he was not inaugurated yet. That's January 20th or 21st, whatever the fuck that is. But this was it. And the left fully supported, absolutely arresting everybody, calling them insurrectionists, saying use all the violence you need. And they did. They stormed into people's homes. They pointed machine guns at wives, children, even babies in cribs. They manufactured and planted evidence on patriotic Americans to frame them literally as insurrectionists, as violent terrorists, right? Like the Green Beret decorated war veteran from the Army here in Florida, who was a congressional candidate at one point, refused to cooperate with the FBI as an informant and a agent provocateur. They planted hand grenades in his home. Just absolute bullshit, along with other evidence, right? So that's it. If the government wants, you need some section of the population to support you. So that's exactly what they want in this case. Now, us right-wingers, us Republicans, us conservatives, patriots, whatever you want to call us, they want the left so far out of control that we agree to call them insurrectionists and remove them. Now, Trump can call them whatever he wants. Trump can use whatever executive authority he wants. He can invoke the Insurrection Act so he has domestic warlike powers to stop the insurrection. So I do understand how we can get from, well, these Democrats are complete assholes to, whoa, we need some extra constitutional authority and protection here. But then, oh, now every president can call it an insurrection. See, that's what Biden didn't do. Biden didn't invoke the Insurrection Act. They just called the protesters from January 6th insurrectionists, but they didn't use the Insurrection Act. If Trump does, that can lead us down a very dark and dangerous place. I get it. So Darcy says, yeah, we're quickly headed for a state that can round up U.S. citizens for the slightest infraction by calling it an insurrection. So yes, there's a big difference between the media calling it that and politicians like fucking Nancy brainless fucking 90-proof Pelosi. That dumb bitch called it an insurrection. Hakeem Discount Obama Jeffries calls it an insurrection. Everyone calls it that, but the president didn't. And they didn't invoke it. So once one side does it, it becomes easier for the other side. Pretty soon, everyone's calling everyone that they don't like an insurrectionist. So if Trump were to do this, if he were to invoke the Insurrection Act, if he were to do that, and then in a few years, he loses the election or the next Republican loses, as soon as the Democrats have power in the Oval Office, they use the Insurrection Act. They issue a new one, they keep the old one alive, and just name the new enemies of the state, right? The state meaning the government, the state of the forum, whoever the authority and control is. So the Insurrection Act is very dangerous because, well, it's supposed to be reserved for an actual attempt to remove the United States government as the authority at the federal level from cooperating and working through the Constitution with the various states. So if you were to look at a strict definition of an insurrection, it would involve paramilitary activity at the nation's capital in Washington, D.C. My opinion, not at every state or every state capital, unless a state officer like a governor and maybe the head of the state's National Guard or the state militia, if they were to stand up and say, we are not obeying the United States of America government, and we're going to have other states do the same, that could be perceived, and I think argued, that that is a problem, that they are looking for insurrection. Now, there's a difference, in my opinion, between insurrection, well, we're going to take over the government, and separation. In other words, saying we no longer want to be a part of the United States of America. We want to leave the United States of America. We want to be an independent state on our own. Kind of like the South in the Civil War, right? They were like, we want to be independent of you. And the North said, oh, no, you don't, and hence all the killing and death and mayhem. In any event, here we are now. I understand the argument that Darcy T is making. It is, right? And then we move to the slippery slope here, passing sweeping legislation, these are Darcy's words, that will make it a crime to voice an opinion, well, she wrote online or publicly, that goes against their agenda. This is very bad for everyone. Now, that last part about passing sweeping legislation that makes criticism of the government or criticism of the government's allies as part of that insurrection language, right? It's not, they could turn it to where, well, it's not just the act of insurrection, it's discussing it, promoting it, encouraging it, calling for it, kind of like calling for violence like Hakeem Jeffries does, and other politicians in Washington, D.C., they call for violence many times. I'm like, that is inciting violence, and it should be a fucking crime. It is not political speech to stand up there behind the seal of the House of Representatives and call for violence. Yeah, it's we do have the slippery slope argument here, but we also have historical precedent of politicians, not just in America, but around the world, when it's time for massive changes, socially, politically, economically, internationally, when it's time for a great reset, you will see this type of activity done with the purpose, the sole purpose of creating a scenario whereby they can make changes, they can make new dictates, they can abolish certain rights they claim. Now, here's the problem they're going to have. And I want to thank Darcy for the great super chat donations and for the allowing me to try the new bourbon, but for bringing this topic up. Hold on to that thought, Mr. Uman. Great. Leave that right there. It's a great fucking rebuttal. The Republicans are cowardly, right? But if you're going to make changes, you've got to sweep all that stuff aside, right? Democrats have no problem stepping on the Constitution, pissing on it, burning it. They don't care. Republicans, on the other hand, pretend to care. But if things are bad enough, things are violent enough, they can call it insurrection. I just think they should call it terrorism. Never mind insurrection. It's just plain old fucking terrorism. Now you've got a case that I think the U.S. can swallow. But that's, I think, interesting. Now, Uman says Republicans are always afraid of setting precedent as an excuse not to do what needs to be done. Democrats will do it, precedent or not, consequences be damned. And you phrase that very, very well, Uman. Thank you. So, yes, if the Republicans or Trump were to step over that red line, Democrats will never think that the red line was ever there to begin with, seeing the danger of it. Here is where the rubber meets the road on the street. As Americans who love America, as Americans who are sportsmen, as Americans who are veterans, as Americans who are active duty, as Americans who love the Constitution, as the Americans who have a Second Amendment, as Americans who own over half the firearms in the world, 750 million weapons are in the United States, and that's just what the government kind of knows about. Calling Republicans insurrectionists and attempting to round them up will result in the OK Corral, the gunfight at the OK Corral, times literally a million. It would not end well for anyone. I believe that if I'm going to phrase this in such a way. Any American who has a strong militant friendship following and family, if they are attacked, that friendship, militant, militia family would put the hurt on the local law enforcement for stepping over that fucking line. Because it really does come down ultimately to the Constitution. Ultimately, it always comes down to that, and then down to what people know the difference between right and wrong is. The difference between right and wrong. All right, great fucking topic, I got to tell you. Do stuff with Nikki, and she writes, and neither Republicans nor Democrats matter. Same toilet bowl, different turds. Yeah, one just has that blue stuff in there that makes it smell nicer. But in all truth, when you cut through the perfume and fancy words, it's all shit. Yeah, the Republicans are just. Robin G said, let's not be afraid of what if. We're jumping all through this fucking topic, damn it. I've got super chats waiting. We can touch on this topic some more if everyone, but I don't think we need to be afraid of what if because of what I just said about patriots having guns, knowing the Constitution, and law enforcement understanding that about us. But, right, I think we need to be cautious of what if, because I don't think anyone wants half of America to be fusilated, to use a nice word that the computers may not understand and try and punish me over. All right, great topics. Thank you, Robin G. Now I would like to move to Chin Music, who's done a $52 $52.23. So that's a $50 and a $2.23 super chat donation. And I'm going to switch over to the Scotch for this one. 18 years single malt coming my way. There it is. Here's to you, Chin. Semper Fi, brother. All right. There's so many damn good Americans out there. I don't know why the government thinks they can just shit all over us, except we don't do anything because we're supposed to trust them. Anyways, here's to you, Chin. Scotch, like mother's milk. Thank you, sir. Chin Music writes, well, Matt Walsh is a social media conservative who works with Ben Shapiro, who is Israeli first, Israeli. I love Jews, Israeli. That's Ben Shapiro. Matt Walsh works for his production company. So as intelligent as Matt Walsh is, as good at argument as Matt Walsh is, as thorough and well-spoken and articulate, he is wearing a collar with a fucking leash on it. So Chin Music writes, well, Matt Walsh hit his marching orders and stepped in a pile this week. A pile of shit. He went after Graham Plattner, who's running for the Senate in the state of Maine. Why did Matt Walsh go after him? Because he's 100% disabled after, get this, 4 tours in Afghanistan. He did 4 tours in Afghanistan. And Matt Walsh is saying you can't be 100% disabled and be an effective senator. Matt Walsh, clearly does not understand what the DOD, the Department of Defense, means when they say 100% disability. It refers to the level of benefits. And that is completely true. Leave that on the screen. We're good right here. Want a little explanation here. Oh, go ahead. No, put that back up. Leave that back up, please, Mr. Uman. I don't want to lose that last part. Okay, so we'll go over disability and military disabilities at that, if we shall. 1 second. I have to adjust the Prepared Mind camera. You can be disabled a number of different ways. It's your loss of hearing, loss of vision, injury due to missing digits, muscle groups, being shot or injured in the torso, the abdomen. People I know that have been paratroopers, they have back injuries because it's a hard landing every time, every single time. And if you put your time in, you put your duty in, you just crush your body. Why? Because you're serving America. You love freedoms. You love the Constitution. You love your countrymen who love America. And young men, ages 18 to 43, 45. They're not young anymore at that later end, but you sacrifice your body to perform the physical tasks that are required. So when you're discharged, you go to numerous physical tests to see what is working and isn't. And they may say you're 50% disabled. In other words, you've sustained injuries that keep you from participating and being able to live a normal life. A normal life. You can be 75, you can be 90, you can be 100% disabled. It's not like you're blind, deaf, missing your tongue, both your arms and legs are blown the fuck off and you're just sitting there. That's not 100% disabled, right? You can be 100% disabled with a number of smaller injuries or a couple serious ones, and that's it. So Matt Walsh is completely wrong. He didn't do his research. He took his marching orders from his boss, Ben Shapiro. So Chin Music continues. But why did he, Matt Walsh, do this? And here's where we get into opinion and fact and everything else. Because he, Matt Walsh, is Ben Shapiro's little cuck bitch. Do we have evidence of that? Yeah, Matt Walsh, who is very smart, very well-spoken, articulate, intelligent, didn't do his research to think about 100% disability and to make a blanket fucking statement that says he won't be able to serve as a senator, especially after knowing that in the great state of Pennsylvania, they've got John Festerman, Uncle Fester, who legitimately has brain damage. And the people, the Democrats that is, said, oh no, we need someone representing brain damaged people in the Senate. Yeah, they really said that, folks. They really said that stupid shit. Wow, right? Wow, just fucking wow. So then it goes, Chin Music continues, says, turns out Plattner didn't take AIPAC money. AIPAC, America, Israeli, and I call it Political Action Committee. It is political money. It comes from Israelis. It's funneled secretly, quietly. They're not required to register as a foreign agent, but it's clearly Israeli influence, which is what Ben Shapiro is. Israeli. So Chin Music continues. So this is why you attack a veteran, a four-tour veteran of the military who has sustained enough fucking cumulative damage that he's 100% disabled by the Department of Defense. And I know for a fact they don't give that away. Numerous tests, x-rays, exams, physical fucking tests, everything they can to find out exactly how jacked up you are. So that's what Matt Walsh has done for a paycheck. And Plattner didn't take Israelis' money because he wants to represent America and America first and America only. It should always be about America first and America only. And when we're doing well, fine. Then we'll help out other countries. So, Chin Music concludes with, what the fuck are we doing on the right? Cancel. Let's continue if we shall. Mr. Cancel your subscription to the Daily Wire, which is where Matt Walsh is, and that's Ben Shapiro's little Israeli, shall we say, Israeli opinion and orders news outlet. So cancel your subscription to the Daily Wire if you still have one. Matt Walsh went from pretty good to total dog shit in one post. Good riddance and a big fuck you from Chin Music to Matt Walsh. I just have to say, look, I'm totally disappointed in you, dude. Not you, Chin Music, Matt Walsh. Integrity fucking matters. Integrity matters, folks. Integrity matters. If you can't do what's right, you shouldn't be doing anything at all. To me, it's disgusting. It really is. It's rather disgusting. but that's what it is. It's kind of like Dan Bongina. I really have no doubt that Dan Bongina once had a heart of gold, a mind geared toward America when he joined the Secret Service. And then slowly over the years, he's been exposed. He sees things. He knows who's shitty. He talks about Hillary like she's the fucking queen cunt she is. Awful human being. Nobody has 57 friends that have committed suicide. Nobody, right? But he leaves the rest of it for sale on the table. Dan Bongina sold out. He lied to us all. He pretended, and then he took the money. $6 million is what's being reported. Dan Bongina. I don't know what Matt Walsh is taking. But $6 million, Dan Bongina is, according to researchers, guilty of taking from AIPAC, which is Israel First, America Last. So now that he's no longer the deputy director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, Dan Bongina is attacking patriotic Americans who question the loyalty and integrity of politicians. Politicians who are fucking liars. That's what politicians do. They lie. We don't have any statesmen with the exception of maybe just a few. Many would argue that Massey is a statesman, a true representative of the people. There's not many left. Not many left. And when they show up, they end up getting attacked. Israel's dual citizenship Americans send tons of money, like the billionaire Miriam Adelson will throw money, millions of dollars at candidates to try and primary them and get people like Massey out of there. It's going to get ugly, folks. It's going to get ugly. Now, Mr. Uman, it is Sunday Night Live. I've got a bunch of stuff I want to talk about, but where are we at in the world of super chats and who's out there? We got Big Dan the Man, whoop, whoop, with a $5 super chat. He says, what exactly is the Democrats' message for the midterms? Orange man bad, or is he a Nazi? Heard we now have more independent voters than ever now. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's go over the Democrats' message for the midterms. Abortion, good. Anti-whiteism, good. Anti-white racism, good. Illegal aliens, good. Rape is good. Drug running is good. Violently protesting against law enforcement, good. Allowing fraud by the millions and billions of dollars, good. That is the Democrats' platform. Anything that's illegal is good. Now, as far as Orange Man bad, yes, Orange Man bad. As far as is Orange Man a Nazi? You bet. He's a Nazi. He's a white supremacist. He's Hitler even. He's awful. He's a dictator. What else can he be? Anything bad, right? That's, and they'll use their interpretation of what Trump is to discredit any other Republicans running. That's their platform. Dan asks, have we now heard we now have more independent voters than ever now? Interesting. I have not read that statistic. What I do know is voters are now looking at getting rid of shitty politicians. They're no longer going to vote the way that their parents voted. They're not going to vote for the incumbents. They're tired of being lied to. And I think most of all, these independent voters are probably the Utes. I know there's a lot of independent voters in the Gen X, which is my generation. Our parents were either Democrat or Republican, and they'll never think about anything or change anything. They just vote R or D. Gen X, the people that were independent, are people who wait to see who's winning in the fourth quarter of the Super Bowl and then go, that's my guy, I'm voting for him, because they want to be on the winning team. Right? I don't have a lot of belief in independence. Now, independent-minded, critical thinking people, that's different. But people who are registered Independent voters, I've never really admired and appreciated them. You get down to millennials. They reject their parents. They hate their parents. So they don't want to register as a Republican or Democrat in a lot of cases, because they want to stick it to their parents. Like, fuck you, old man. I'm going to be my own man. And then you get to the Gen Z, the Zoomers. These are Americans who are about 30 years and younger, right? It could be 28 and younger. I don't fucking know, but they're younger, right? That's the newest generation coming up. They don't like and trust the Republicans. They do not like the Democrats. Now, of course, there are the left-wing lunatic, pink, blue, green, yellow-haired, transgender, testicled fucknuts that are obviously going to vote Democrat. If they could vote communist, they would. But on the other side, the Republican side, or rather the conservative American side, they want freedom. And they are disgusted. They're sick and tired of seeing all this money being given to illegals, all this money being given to Israel and Ukraine, all this money being spent on war munitions to fight wars for other countries. They're tired of it. They're tired of looking at jobs and going, I can't get a job because there's H-1B and other fucking work visas allowing immigrants from India to come here, lying about their experience, lying about their education, lying about their degrees, lying about their knowledge base altogether, getting jobs. And Americans who went to school, studied, went to college, studied, got their degrees, they cannot get a job because of these foreigners who come in, get into positions of authority, promote themselves and one another, then hire nothing but their own people who come here, don't have the skills, according to many experts, don't have the skills, don't have the prerequisites, and are not easily trained, but they don't want to train an American, and they don't want to pay an American full price. There's a scam, folks. It's not full. There is a scam out there. And these young people, these independent voters that are Utes, age 20 to 40, they're seeing a world that they can't afford to buy a house. They can barely afford to buy an automobile. Right? They can barely afford to start a family. Now, I have made the argument. When I was a kid, there were weeks where I ate tuna fish, peanut butter, top fucking ramen. There were weeks where I went a week without work, 2 weeks, a month, and had to scrounge to survive. Scrimped and saved money for years to get my first house when I was 26. Had to pay 8% interest at a time when everyone else was paying 4%. I didn't have Starbucks every day. I had a picnic bench for a kitchen table. Right? The house I bought was unfinished. And what was finished needed to be replaced and refurbished. So over the course of 10 years, I kept pouring my money into it, remodeling it. Luckily, as a construction guy, I could do the work myself and was able to do well. It's hard work and everything else, but when you look around, you can't even get a fucking job. Yeah. Stop the cell phone bullshit. Stop the coffee. Stop spending money on new fashionable clothes. Fuck you, right? But once you've done all that and you still look around and you still can't get ahead because of inflation, right? Because of the cost of goods, because of the cost of insurance, because you're forced to buy insurance, Obamacare, that does you no fucking good. It just takes money from you, and then when something really bad happens, sorry, fuck you, you don't get any help. Right? Or you need to pay a $10,000 deductible. Right? I can see why they're so pissed, why they're independent, why they don't trust any politicians. Exactly. Anyways, I want to leave it at that. It is a very touchy subject. I have problems with millennials. I have problems with Zoomers. But I also have problems with boomers and problems with Gen Xers. It's anybody who doesn't want freedom, liberty, equality, justice, and to get these foreigners out of our fucking country. That's my stance. Right? That's not a political party platform because, well, our political leadership keeps saying we're going to clean the country out and doesn't. Who keeps saying we're going to fix America and doesn't. Who talks tough about crime and doesn't do anything. Enough on that. Thank you, Big Dan the man. Awesome hearing from you this week. All right. Well, folks, we got over 300 people live on the Prepared Mind channel. We're 40 minutes into the show. We're going to go 2 hours. This is the Zoo. It's Sunday night. It's your show. You get to pick the topics. I've got a lot, but I let you guys pick because this is where we raise money to keep the lights on, to keep everything comfortable at the Prepared Mind bunker. Mr. Uman, who's up next? What do we got? We've got Northern Pike with a $10 super chat. And he says, full stop. Don't say the name. Y'all ready. There is a lot of Rennie bad, and it's being dealt with. Can't you see? And now we can see. Is that music? Is that a song? I think this is a code. Northern Pike. Don't say the name. Y'all ready? There's a lot of Rennie bad. There's a lot of really bad. It's being dealt with. Can't you see? Can't you see what that woman's doing to me? Now we can see. I don't know. Northern Pike 1, I appreciate the super chat, the donation, the help keeping the lights on, paying for our subscriptions, not for Matt Walsh, paying for our other subscriptions, news services, technical services, servers, etc. We've got our own website. It has costs. Thank you. It always helps. I apologize, man, but yes, definitely a Semper Fi to you. Mr. Uman, who's up next? Thank you for that, Northern Pike. Now we've got Davey D checking in. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Now, Davey D a lot of times does $35.70 because he loves the 357 Magnum. But today he's done a $53.57 super chat donation. And folks, I love the 357. Within arm's reach, I've got 2 of them. Got a California Highway Patrol model that was my grandfather's. I've got my own 686 with a hair trigger and a 6-inch barrel with the silhouette sights. Fuck you up. Not to mention another one, top secret, 357. It's actually a Kimber. In any event, this deserves a scotch. Yes, indeed, Davey D. And then we'll get to your topic, your subject matter. It's going into, yes, the Marine Corps shot glass, 250th anniversary. I think there's going to be some shit changing. Here's to you, brother. Thank you. There it is. He says, keep the peace harder every day. I see anger everywhere. Aware it can come at me. Yes. Interestingly, I'm gonna take your thoughts here and kind of expound on it. Keep the peace. It is getting harder every day. Not only is it the left wing and they're calling for violence over race, gender affiliation, right? They hate Cox, and then they hate women. They hate everybody. They hate everything. They hate America. They hate our borders. They hate our military. They hate everything. Democrats. But I see Republicans out there who are becoming very, very frustrated and angry. Keep your powder dry. Right? When Lexington and Concord happens, you'll know. You'll know. But his statement, Davey D, aware it can come at me. Yeah. Anger can develop, and you could be totally innocent. Just like that little blonde girl on the train who was peacefully traveling by subway, peacefully sitting in her chair, all alone, not causing any problems, gets stabbed in the side of the fucking neck by a multi-time criminal who's continuously being released from the courts. We're seeing it again and again and again, where anger strikes out and attacks innocence that is also unaware. This is why you got to keep your head on a swivel, watch, look around, keep an eye on everyone and everything. Don't turn your back on someone that you perceive could be a problem. Someone who is dressed very poorly, whether they're black, white, Mexican, Indian, I don't give a fuck, Asian. If they're dressed poorly, if their body language indicates that they don't have a master's degree, if If you understand body language, you just know what I'm saying, right? If you're in a bad area, I mean, not everyone who's a violent, fucked up left-wing moron, not all of them are going to dress like shit. They could dress very clean. They could be dressed for work and you wouldn't know it. But within them wells up this fucking hatred and anger. And they can lash out and become violent. And guess what? Judges see the violence, recognize it, multi-criminal, allow them back out again. They don't care. And then they stab little girls and they rape little girls and they murder little girls and they attack boys, men, old ladies, old men, everyone. Recall this bit of Democrat crap, Davey. Remember the Democrat Jay Jones? Well, he won. He's been sworn in as the Attorney General for the state or Commonwealth of Virginia. Right? Remember that his texts were leaked where he fantasized about the children of his conservative opponents being murdered and dying in their parents' arms. It went public. The guy refused to have any dignity, any decency. And he refused to step down. And he ended up winning. Why? Because all the Democrats continued to support him. Right? The now governor of Virginia, Spermberger, and other Democrats all up and down the East Coast supported Jay Jones. This asshole, right? He's a giant asshole. Is why our neighbors, your neighbors, are emboldened to push their, as you put it, anger everywhere, to push woke bullshit, murderous activities, anti-American actions against you, me, all of us, and everything you and I love about America. They hate it, right? And the cause for this is at the political level, like the jackass Attorney General. He makes a statement, fantasizes about the murder of his opponent's children, and to see them suffer and die in the arms of the parents as they're dying. It outlines where this starts and how it filters down into all the Democrats who are angry everywhere. And this problem is something you and we will face. It's on the street. It's downtown. It's in our hometown. It's at the store. It's at our work. It's when you're driving. It's on the street in front of our homes. You've got to be prepared. The answer can only come. The answer can only come from the politicians. Right? You and we're not the problem. The protesters are a symptom of the greater problem. Understand that. There's a difference between a disease and a symptom. When you sneeze, the sneeze isn't the problem. You have a cold or a flu. The sneeze is the symptom that tells you have a problem. The sneeze is violent. You're blowing snot and noise and shit everywhere. The problem is a quiet little virus fucking with you. That's what these politicians are. They say a couple of words. They imply a couple of actions. They allow stuff to go on that shouldn't. But by the time it makes it to the street, it is a sneeze with the power of a fucking tornado and a hurricane and an earthquake. See what I'm saying? This is the problem. The problem is not insurrection on the streets. The problem is elected politicians in Congress, at the state level, at the executive state level, and also the state legislatures, the senates and the assemblies, etc. They're encouraging violence. They're allowing violence. Judges, prosecutors in the district attorney's office, allowing these criminals not to be prosecuted, to kill people based on race, skin color. Judge not by the color of one's skin, but by the content of the character. No, they're judging by people's skin. They're attacking white people. Oh, there's more on that too. Understand it. I'm going to take this a little further even. Uman sent you a quick little query. It's not queer, it's query. Anyways, understand, folks, the 26 and 27 Democrat policy and domestic war. Right after her swearing in ceremony, the Virginia governor and former Central Intelligence Agency, former CIA spook, Abigail Spermberger. Guess what she did? Immediately, the first thing she did, she repealed Governor Youngkin. That's former Governor Youngkin, because she's now the governor. His order requiring local law enforcement to comply with immigrations and customs enforcement. In other words, comply with federal law enforcement requests, orders, etc. Well, in my opinion, that could and should result in the arrests of any state law enforcement officers if Trump were to grow some balls and manned up and stop making empty threats and ridiculous promises and actually take action, not with the Insurrection Act, but by charging these politicians all the way down to the law enforcement level saying, do your fucking jobs. If you don't, it is gross incompetence, it is gross dereliction of duty, and you have compromised public safety at the expense of the public in an effort to win political votes and political support, while completely disregarding peace and fucking everyone over. He should just arrest the politicians. They're the source of the problem. They're the cold. They're the virus, not the sneeze. But I don't think Trump has the balls. I really don't. Good golly. We're at 300 people live. I haven't said it. Share the internet address. It's right up at the top of the screen. Share it, please. You cannot participate in the comment sections on the YouTube channels unless you're a subscriber. Everyone, no matter where you're at, find a thumbs up or a heart button. Support the channel that way. If you're not doing super chats, if you're not a premium guerrilla warrior through the preparedmind.club or subscribestar.com, that's how you can support us. Thumbs up. It doesn't cost anything. Sharing the internet address with friends, family, loved ones, co-workers. Doesn't cost you anything, but it helps the cause. It helps wake people up. I'll give them the justification. I'll give the passionate speeches about what needs to fucking happen. I'll talk about the dirty, low-down truths and facts that very few will. Right? That's what I'm here for. I want people to wake up, get prepared, and see and understand the enemy. I can't call for insurrection. I won't do that. Anyways, it is up to you guys, and it always has been. If you're on YouTube and you want to do a super chat, there's 2 YouTube channels. One has close to 80,000 subscribers because YouTube, killed that channel altogether. Award? Yeah. Thanks, YouTube. Fuck off. And then there's the channel that only has, I think, 5,400 subscribers. That Prepared Mind channel is monetized, so you can do super chat button. The one with 80,000 subscribers, how does a channel with 80,000 fucking subscribers not get monetized? Because YouTube took it away and they refused to give it back. Because they're intellectual cowards, vagrants, and dumbasses. All right, enough on that. Anyways, you guys have been great supporting me. Mr. Uman, what's the next topic? It's Nancy Keg. How you doing there, little sister? She says, hey, this from the still sane people, still from the northern Minnesota and southern Illinois. Semper Fi, Mr. John. Oh, there's a ton of sane people in Minnesota and southern Illinois, except over there by, St. Louis. Very conservative. Very conservative. Outside of St. Paul, Minneapolis, Minnesota's full of conservatives. Same with Wisconsin. I've got people down here in Florida that are transplants from Wisconsin, or they're snowbirds from Wisconsin. Great people, Republican. I mean, we're talking hardcore conservative, hardcore. I was like, hey, calm down. We're in Florida. You can calm the fuck down. We don't have to get our guns out here. Woo! They're pissed off about what's going on up there. We know it. Now, just like in my area, this is now a Republican stronghold area in Florida that once was a little marginal. But since I got here, back in the end of 2020. Since I got here, this place is now solidly Republican, this county I'm in. And that doesn't change the fact that 4 out of 10 people around me go up top, get out of the bunker, walk around, look in the houses. 4 out of 10 are Democrats. 4 out of 10. That's 40%. So if you think about Minnesota or Southern Illinois, most people are surrounded by Democrats. 4 out of 10. Even in the bluest of blue areas, you're still going to have some Republicans. You see, there's going to be Republicans. They're just way outnumbered, and they can't win in like a Chicago area, all of the suburbs up there. It's just Democrats love to go to cities and just pack each other's fudge, right? But everywhere that is a Democrat state, a Democrat city is full of Republicans. It's just 3 out of 4, 4 out of 4, sometimes, 45 out of 100. They're a minority, but there's a lot of them. And remember, Republicans are more prone to think, less prone to act ridiculously for no fucking reason or to go off. Democrats go off. Democrats pick anything they want to lose their shit and become violent. You need to be aware of that and stay protected, stay aware, stay ready, be prepared at all times. But yeah, Minnesota, full of good people. Illinois, full of good people. Just ask Uman. Everywhere's full of good people. It's just what are their percentages? And therefore, by those percentages, who is governing the city, county, and state? Unfortunately, places like Chicago fuck things up. Nancy says, hey, good evening, everyone. Hey, Uman, I hear ICE, Immigrations and Customs Enforcement, is cleaning house in Southern Illinois now, and the people are feeling excited there. My son said it was quiet around where he lives. They are welcomed. That is ICE, Immigrations, Customs Enforcement, Department of Homeland Security, Border Patrol. They should have customs agents. They should have U.S. Marshals. They should have mercenary Americans. In other words, bounty hunters. There should be a bounty on illegals. There should be names and pictures and general locations of known offending illegal aliens in the country. They should hire and allow bounty hunters. Get Dog out, or did he die? Get him out there. You want the problem fucking fixed? You're going to find out who's willing to throw down and fucking skin their smoke wagon and who's just punching their fucking clown and full of shit. We're going to get there. It's coming. Stay prepared. But yes, on your day-to-days, step out. As soon as you step out your front door, scan the area. Look for cars out of place, people out of place, things out of place. Thank you, Mr. Uman. We're now at the 1 hour mark. You step out of the house, do that. Driving down the street, be aware of cars around you. Sometimes they'll follow you by accident. Other times, what the fuck is that person doing? I just made 3 right turns around the same block and they're right behind me. You don't want that situation, trust me. But, you get to work. I get out of my vehicle at work. I get out of the tank and I look around. I'm scanning. It's dark. As you guys know, 0 dark 30 every day. It's dark as fuck. So I look. I watch for vans. Because I don't trust anyone at any level, civilian or government. I look for fucking kidnapping vans. I don't walk anywhere near them. I keep my everyday carry on me. I don't care how safe my area is. Because it just takes one asshole. And you're on. It's on. All right, Mr. Uman, let's continue. We're up to 313 people live. Thank you for the thumbs up. Share that internet address. Northern Pike with a $1 super chat. Thank you, Northern Pike. And then Northern Pike with a $5 super chat. He says, I put commas in that last message for you to read, Marine. That's okay. Well, sometimes us Marines, we're better at chewing crayons and chewing the heads off our enemies than, becoming intellectual giants. But typically, I like to think I'm more cerebral than most ground pounders. But God bless them. You got to have them all. You do. Some of the greatest Americans have always been grunts, whether they're Army grunts or Marine grunts or even sailors. I don't have a lot of love for the Air Force because, hey, I never got lobster as a Marine. I never got filet mignon as a Marine, and I know that's our joke. Anyways, God bless all conservative, Constitution-loving veterans, including even the Coast Guard, as long as you are a Constitution-loving veteran. All right, let's continue. Ooh, man, we're at the 1 hour mark. Who's up? Holy batshit. It's Courageous Cat with a $100 super chat, which means I get another Mastery's bourbon whiskey, which instead of, let me see, the Glenfiddich is, where was it? By golly, I had the proof on here. I can't read. It's tough getting older, man. It's like 97 proof. Okay. No, I'm sorry, 87 proof. This, my friends, 100 proof. It's some stiff-ass bourbon whiskey, and it is pretty damn good, if I do say so myself. So I appreciate this, Courageous Cat. I looked thirsty. I felt thirsty. And we're going to go with this one right here. Semper Fi. God bless America. Here's to all the troops. The stars and stripes. May the birds of liberty never lose a feather. That has got such a good finish for a bourbon. Woo! Reminds me a little bit of a Pappy's. Anyways, let's continue if we shall. Thank you. Courageous Cat got something to say, or are we just doing a beautiful? We got Perry Blake. Uh-oh. With a $50 super chat donation, $49.99. I'll allow it. Oh. This is going to be a good one. I tell you what, Perry, let's do this. Let's pour that scotch first. $50 gets me the 18-year Glenfiddich. And I don't mind my bourbon buddies hanging out with my Scottish buddies. They all get along pretty good. He's like, hey, Masteries, it's good to see you, my lad. Okay, anyways, enough of that shit. Yeah, that's working. Have you seen what happened to Jake Lang this weekend in Minnesota? Yes, I have. And Perry Blake continues with, fuck these filthy bastards. I concur. And also the Abraham Lincoln CVN 72 is in the Gulf, where I was in 95. Bottoms up, big guy, Semper Fi. You were in the Gulf. You may have been Navy. Fucking A. Gotta love the squids, man. They're fucking awesome. Just a mouth of joy. Woo! And Perry says, been watching you since the beginning of 2016. You've been around a long time, man. Awesome. Perry Blakey says, Semper Fi. Semper Fi to you, man. If you were on the Abraham Lincoln, you were right there. All right. This is what we're going to talk about. Jake Lang. Jake Lang is a bit of a mystery wrapped around an enigma inside a burrito shell. Jake Lang is running around with bacon, other pork products, and a Christian Bible, and he is confronting Muslims up in Minnesota and elsewhere and calling for them to be evicted out of the country, deported, sent out, because they're fraudsters, they're liars, they're violent, they're rapists. They're all kinds of things that aren't American, nor do they want to be American, nor do they care about America. It's always about them. Foreigners from the Middle East, it's never about America. It's always about their foreign country and their foreign religion. So Jake Lang, Jake Lang has been very vocal. He's also gone to City Hall meetings and told City Hall, even that one where that jackass of a fucking Muslim dickhead is the presiding elected official, and gave him the riot act. Good. The problem with Jake Lang is he also appears to be Israeli. People are very suspicious of that, and we should be. Is he an agent provocateur as an Israeli pretending to be a Christian to start fighting between Christians and Muslims in America which would serve the Israeli agenda, right? If there's war, if there's violence, they get more martial law powers, more strong government powers. We could say, hey, you're not allowed to insult other religions. You're not allowed to blah, 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 violate the First Amendment, try and violate the Second Amendment, right? That's what agent provocateurs do. They create and level the rays of violence to the point where the government has to do something which doesn't benefit us, the people, but benefits the government's desire for more power. Go back to the beginning of the show, see Darcy T's comments, Darcy T's questions, or listen to it rather, and you will get a good understanding of what I'm talking about there. Now, Jake Lang was in Minnesota. Jake Lang was attacked by a mob of people who had him pinned against a building. That fucking close. I don't know what his true mission is. I don't know if he is the same guy, Jake Lang is the same guy who looks just like him, who's an Israeli. Everyone has a doppelganger, folks. I get mistaken frequently for Kevin Nash, World Wrestling Federation guy. I'm not. But Jake Lang looks a lot, right? Doppelgangers, twins. He was violently assaulted. He's lucky he's not dead. When is America going to say enough of these motherfuckers? Right? These people are not Americans. They don't care about the Constitution, our history, our tradition, our culture, nothing. Right? They treat it like it's trash and stomp on it. I don't want them here, but Jake Lang put himself in a very precarious, dangerous situation. I don't know if he tried getting out of it and got trapped. I don't know. But I watched him getting the shit beat out of himself. I would not like that. Uman says there's a thin line between being brave and being foolish. At this point, it's foolish to walk into a hornet's nest alone. When you look at the enemy, I'm going to take that comment. When you look at the enemy you're dealing with, these inbred, literally inbred, retarded level IQ, fact. These Somalis are inbred, resulting in IQs below the minimum line in America, making them literal, functional retards who don't understand law, our culture, our system, nothing. They're just here, creating little Somalia. And if you go in there undermanned, underpowered, incapable, and unable to defend yourself physically, you're going to end up getting the living shit beat out of you. It is foolish. You can only do that if the people you're talking to respect and understand the rules of debate, law. How about this one? If you lose an argument or debate, you don't get to get violent and beat the shit out of people. Now, all that said, what Jake Lang has done to illustrate to the world is that these people are ignorant, idiotic, inbred, violent retards, and they will assault and kill you if they don't like you. Now, Jake Lang has put bacon on the Quran. He has pissed off Muslims everywhere. To them, that's a blood libel, right? That makes them very mad. So they're going to remember him. It was really stupid of him to go in there unmanned, unprotected, and literally almost martyr himself. Stupid, foolish. If you're going to do that, if you're going to do what Jake Lang is doing, you need to take a bunch of big badass motherfuckers who are willing to go all the way to fight them and protect you. And that's some scary business. I've had that offer from several people who said, hey, if you want to go on national tour, we'll stand by you, man. We'll travel with you and we'll pack heat, we'll protect you. And as big as I am at 270 plus pounds, 6'6", yada, yada, whatever the fuck I am, right? I still know that if 3, 4 or more people want to beat my ass, I'm done. Even if I go full fucking Viking berserker, fucking foam coming out of my mouth, right? I'm still going to get the snot kicked out of me. Got to be smart about this. I think that Jake Lang is kind of full of himself, and he's going to cause a problem. Does he need to become a martyr so the world goes, oh yeah, Muslims bad? I think we all know. It's just what can be done about it. Currently, here we are. Government's doing nothing. Governor's doing nothing. Attorney General's doing nothing. Law enforcement's doing nothing. Police are doing nothing. Sheriffs are doing nothing. District attorneys are doing nothing. Judges are doing nothing. Trump is doing nothing. National Guard's doing nothing. Nobody's doing nothing but allowing the tensions to rise, and escalate until eventually, ultimately, there's going to be people murdered on the street. And we saw that back in 2020. We saw it. It's going to happen at some point. Can't stop it. I can encourage people to be careful, behave, obey the law, use your fucking brains and some common sense, have plenty of protection and backup, an escape plan, or a fighting retreat for us Marines. You see what I'm saying there? I know the words. We don't retreat. It's a fighting retreat, like the Chosen Reservoir. Anyways, here we go. But it's coming. Eventually, ultimately, it happens. It always happens. It always has. It always will. It's human fucking nature. Ultimately, people want to fight because they don't get their way with an argument. Thank you very much. Ooh, man. We got some more super chats. Let's do it. We got Viking back with a $20 super chat this week. And he says, if Trump doesn't send in the troops, then you'll continue to see those like Jake Lang almost getting killed and even churches being threatened. How insane is that? Well, it's insane if Trump does something. It's insane if Trump doesn't. Right? He's in a no-win situation on a lot of different levels. You know, from a continuity of government through the federal structure system we have, if Trump doesn't do anything, it is going to fail. The Constitution, the United States, the Constitution for these United States fails if Trump doesn't maintain order from top to bottom within his job description or authority requirements, or right, just doing his fucking job. If he lets states destroy themselves, harm people, if they refuse law enforcement, guess what? It's over. It becomes a fucking mayhem central. Seattle, Portland, Minneapolis. We're going to see it in New York City soon, no doubt. Chicago, LA. It can just get really nasty. Now, if Trump does something, then we go the other way with that risk, that threat of insurrection being called on everyone at any time over anything. And, well, lobbyists like AIPAC, the Anti-Defamation League, the Southern Poverty Law Center, and all of these other quasi-foreign institutions that actually speak like terrorist groups when they don't get their way, they can call for all of us to be corralled, penned, hurt, censored, canceled by these same people because the president's willing to act on anything they say at that point. Oh yeah, we're in just like Canada. I'll tell you what, Viking, we're in the situation where it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't. But something has to be done. Something needs to take place. There needs to be movement. And the problem's not the protesters on the street. They're again the symptom. The problem is government is not willing to arrest the people causing and allowing it. Pam Bondi, Kash Patel. Where is that bug-eyed, cross-eyed freak? Where is that fucking jizz basin bimbo Bondi? Where's she at? She's done jack shit while the country falls apart. Thank you very much. Just like Trump's first fucking term, except it's starting faster, earlier, and I have a feeling it's going to get nasty. As far as churches being burned, remember Ghostbusters? When the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man stepped on that cathedral, and the Ghostbusters said, "You're not doing that in my town, Mr. Right. Nobody sets a church on my town." These people want to burn Christian churches. I'm sure they want to burn and attack Jewish synagogues also. See, that's a synagogue is their religious place, so therefore it's about Jews. Israel is a secular state. I call them Israelis. They're not mutually exclusive, but they can be. Anyways, let's continue if we shall. It's completely fucking insane, Viking. The whole system. Canada, Toronto, Quebec, Montreal, shit shows. Montrealistan, right? Unbelievable. Yeah. Toronto, Delhi. Yeah, it's awful. It's fucking awful. All right, folks, thank you for the great super chats. Let's continue. Ooh, man, what do we have next? Who's up next? It's Gary D with a 556, my favorite number. Super chat donation. He says, I don't know why these leftist morons are being allowed to attack ICE and impede traffic. I don't think Trump is being tough enough. I absolutely agree. Well, I do know why the leftists are being allowed to attack ICE and impede traffic, because the people in charge, Governor Tim Walz, who's under investigation for fraud, money laundering, and God knows what else, is a lying sack of shit who is now withdrawn. He's not going to run for re-election. Still, he is the governor in charge for the time being. Governor isn't just a word. It isn't just a name. You as governor are it's a required to do the same thing the president does for the country at that level, is to protect the state from damage from its enemies, whether they be whatever, military. Now, governors can call in the National Guard. Militarily or economically, financially, they're responsible for the environment, for the cities, for the rural areas. They're responsible for all that. They're the responsible actor. And Tim Walz is a pile of shit. And he wants Minnesota ruined. He's a fucking communist. So he wants this. He wants fighting. He wants people to rise up on the left, the communist left, rise up and start killing all the Republicans. Literally, that's what they want. But they don't seem to fucking get it because, well, they're retarded. The governor, the lieutenant governor, the district attorneys, the attorney general for the state of Minnesota, they're fucking retards. The chiefs of police, the Democrat sheriffs, however many those are, they're fucking retards. And they don't understand that the American people are armed to the fucking teeth. I mean, if you want to talk about one of the states that is jam-packed with sporting enthusiasts, Minnesota's one of them, right? If they're not fishing, they're duck hunting or geese, right? So they're sportsmen extraordinaire. All the states are that, including Hawaii. Even Hawaii is loaded with guns, loaded with veterans, loaded with people who just want to be left the fuck alone. But Democrats don't believe that, and they want to allow these un-American pieces of shit, communist infiltrators to cause trouble in an effort to cause people to rise up and throw down the white Christian constitutional republic. That's where they're at. It's literally where they are at. All right. Oh, man, I tell you. 1 second, folks. There we go. Send a message over to Uman. We're at an hour and 20 minutes. We've got a lot to talk about. A lot. I've got so much stuff on here. I don't even know where to begin, but it is your show. Sunday Night Live. Mr. Uman, who's up next? Do we have more super chats out there? We have Northern Pike back again. Woo! He's got the Quattro $5 super chat. He says, back in the days, lobster was for slaves. Yeah, they served lobster to inmates at Alcatraz. Does everyone know that? Lobster. The lobster is related to the cockroach. So say scientists. Don't know if I trust the science anymore, but they look kind of like a bug that lives underwater. The Pacific Islanders I knew, they're like, you white people like lobsters? We don't eat that shit. I'm like, well, have you tasted lobster? A lot of people like it. To me, it's just a very big shrimp. Anyways, it was for slaves. Northern Pike says, I still haven't gotten mine. Much love, and it's a great experience to hear your thoughts. Hey, man, I really appreciate that. I do. I really appreciate it. I've got so much on my mind, so much to share, but I love the zoo. I love hearing your guys' thoughts, questions, what's important to you, your perspectives, because it helps me refine mine. It adds to my perspective. It adds to letting me know what's important. Sometimes I get really focused on a topic, and everyone else is over here, and I'm like, how'd you guys get over there? And so you bring me back, and that's cool. It is your show. It's Sunday Night Live. This is the zoo. Mr. Uman. And everyone, share the internet address up above. Share it. And we got Blue Cord Devil. Woo! With a $50 super chat. You know what that means? That means I am going to sleep like a baby tonight with all of these great shots. And thank you for the fantastic support, everyone. 18-year. Whoops, I poured that one a little thick there, Blue Cord Devil. 18-year Glenfiddich Scotch. I keep buying those because they're just so damn good. And you guys do take care of me and support the show so well. Inflation is really hurting, though, on Scotch, that is. It's really putting the hurt on us here in the state of Florida when it comes to, our distilled beverages. Anyways, here's to you, Blue Cord. That'll make you pull the air between your teeth. And Blue Cord says, watching what happened yesterday to Jake, that's Jake Lang, gave me flashbacks to Haiti in 95. Those crowds and the fear in his eyes. Didn't sleep much last night thinking of it. We are about to kick off, sad to say. By kickoff, Blue Cord means the violence. It could go one of several different ways. Number one, both sides say that was close. This is getting fucked up. If we go any further and people die, there's going to be a hell to pay. That's one way. The other way is the Christians all back off. The Americans back off. And the Muslims stay radical, full of hate, angry, ready to kill everyone. But the Christians back off and disappear. Next is Christians come out full force, American Christians, and say, Muslims, you motherfuckers are done. And the Muslims back off and go away. The fourth way is both sides saying, you know what, disarm, back up, let's quiet this shit down. Now, I hate to say this. Well, I don't hate to say it, but it needs to be said. The anti-American, Muslim, Somali, fraudster, lying pieces of shit sucking down welfare and destroying the state are low IQ, inbred, incestuous pieces of shit. Consequently, I don't believe they're intelligent enough to know to back down. Christians are Americans, and the Americans know where this, or they should know where this leads. And Jake's eyes, the fear, says, oh, this was a fucking mistake. If he's going to go back in there and continue his protesting and his agitating and fucking with his people, he better take the appropriate protection and the appropriate people to make sure he can get out of there alive. But he is antagonizing them. They deserve to be antagonized. They deserve to be called every dirty name in the fucking book because they are false, bullshit, lying, asylum seekers. They're fucking liars. They're fraudsters. They're cheats. They're scum. They're inbred. They're incestuous. They're just fucking, they're worthless to America. They don't have jobs. They don't contribute to society. They don't contribute to the productivity of the country economically, financially. All they do is steal fucking money and send it back to their worthless country. And don't go, oh, no, I met one good one. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck if it's 5% or 10% or even 25% of them are actually good. You've got 4 vaccines. 3 of them are mRNA. The last one, little one, this one's safe. The other 3 are mRNA. You don't go, well, 25%. One of them is good, so I'm going to take all 4. No, whatever good that one vaccine could do you, if it was good, the other 3 mRNA, the poison, toxic, cancer-causing, carcinogenic ones, they're going to fucking kill you. That 25% of the Somalis that are good, if you want to make that argument, are not worth the damage the other fucking 75% do. Period. Look at demographics. It's not stereotypes that are untrue. They're stereotyped as inbred moronic retards because that's what they are. There may be a couple good ones. Too fucking bad. You all get to go back. Right? You're not Americans. Go about immigrating here lawfully. Let's continue if we shall. We're at almost 90 minutes into the show. We're 3/4 of the way through. 75% through, and we still have great messages coming. We got Heidi with a $2 super chat. She says, why don't they have a curfew in Minneapolis? Great question. What's the purpose and point of a curfew? Which, by the way, I do not agree with. I do not think it's constitutionally illegal. A curfew is telling everyone they have to be in their homes by a certain time. Now, they had no problem with mandatory fucking curfews and get in your fucking house lockdowns in Minneapolis, Minnesota, under Tim Walz in 2020. Period. During the lockdowns, they walked down the street, the police did, full body armor, full military gear, shooting people with fucking pepper balls and paintballs and whatever fucking non-lethal ammunition. If they were sitting on their porches outside, they were yelling at people to get away from their windows. Fuck you guys. Okay, now, what about for minors? Minors are not adults. They do not enjoy full constitutional rights that adults do. So when I grew up in certain areas of California, there were curfews for minors. You had to be home by 11, by 12, by 1 a.m., whatever the fuck it was. That is constitutionally allowed because you're not an adult. You're a minor. You're underage. Curfew in Minneapolis? Now, can the government do general curfews for everybody, regardless of age? Yeah, if they want to invoke an emergency war power. I mean, that's how serious a curfew is. Now, they could come out and say, there's a curfew and you've got to be in your house by 9 o'clock. Okay, do that. You catch someone who's out at 10, you write them a ticket, you go to court and go, you're out of your fucking mind. This is a violation of my fucking rights. Right? And you can fight that in court, whatever. But if it's truly a wartime emergency and people are being shot, stabbed, right? You've got riots going on. Now you can say a curfew can be called in a true emergency and the government needs to enforce it by whatever means necessary, tackling and arresting, right? Beating the shit out of people, whatever martial law, right? See, curfew is supposed to be reserved for martial law, wartime, etc. There's still no provision in the Constitution saying, we can tell you to go to your house and you have to do it. No, they don't have that authority, but it's assumed power. And if there truly is war in the streets, if you're not participating, you'd be well advised to stay in your fucking house. Anyways, they don't have curfew in Minneapolis, though, for you specifically, Heidi. And I know you're up in the Great White North. I do believe it's because the governor is weak and won't do anything. The attorney general is weak and won't do anything. The entire law enforcement structure from state, county, and city are weak. And they won't clean the streets up. If they clean the streets up, there'd be no need to call a curfew. If Trump would arrest high-level interference from political figures who are calling for violence and lawlessness, if he would just go fucking arrest them, the problem would be cured very fast. Because all the fucking Somalis look around, all the fucking Antifa, BLM, Black Panthers, LGBTQ fruitcakes, they look around and go, oh shit, we don't have any protection from the mayor, who is a fucking piece of shit, anti-American, Somali communist fuckstick, right? The mayor of Minneapolis, the governor, the attorney general, if they were arrested, they would look around and go, oh shit, there's no one backing us, no one allowing us. And law enforcement can go and arrest the leaders of all these communities. So isn't that nice to call it a community instead of calling them terror groups? They could go arrest the leaders of the Somalis, arrest the leaders of BLM, arrest the leaders of Antifa, arrest the leaders of the Black Panthers, arrest the leaders of the LGB, anti-government, anti-freedom, fudge packing groups. They could take care of them, but they won't. They refuse. January 6, 2021, from that point forward, the government had no problem finding every single person who was in Washington, D.C. and arresting them and calling them insurrectionists and fucking them over, ignoring their rights, torturing them physically, psychologically, emotionally, medically, and in every other way, deny them legal service. Government can do that whenever the fuck they want, right? But not when they should, to maintain law and order, peace and tranquility, and an orderly government and public process for dealing with grievances. They want this to happen, in other words, Heidi. That's why they don't have a curfew or any meaningful, positive policing actions. That sounded fucking friendly, did it not? Share the internet address. Share it. Text, email, call someone on the fucking phone, whatever it takes. Get them to wake up. Understand where we're at. It's a fucking mess. Now, man. I haven't talked about, I think, only 2 out of my topics, but we got so much more. Northern Pike, he's got the Cinco de hat trick here. Speaking of Cinco, we haven't heard from Carlos Granados in a while. Hopefully that's not his real name and he hasn't been fucking attacked by President Scheinbaum, the Israeli-Mexican leader who works for the cartels in Mexico. Anyways, back to Northern Pike with a $5 super chat donation. He says, Jake Lang may be in operation now, protected. I seen a vid of a man beat in much worse condition and a van showed up, armed grunts. Feds took him away. Jake Lang could be an agent provocateur. He could be an agent provocateur for the federal government, for the CIA, for the FBI, for the NSA. He could be an undercover operative, an agent provocateur for Mossad. Mossad operates in this country, folks. They operate electronically through the internet. They operate through a series of thousands of bots, internet bots, chat bots that just fucking start shit all the time, talk shit, and they try and encourage and make people who are pro-Israeli look good by hitting the heart button, liking everything, trying to make it look like there's a lot of support for Israel when there's not. Very few people are like, yeah, we need to keep sending billions and billions to Israel so they can keep killing hundreds of thousands in Gaza and then attacking Syria and Jordan and Egypt and every fucking where else. Lebanon. No, there's not support for them. It is all electronic warfare, and Mossad's a big part of that. As far as their physical presence, it wouldn't surprise me a bit. Remember on 9/11, we had Mossad agents, the dancing Israelis in New York City who were there to celebrate that action, 9/11. How did they know it was going to happen if it was supposedly committed by Muslims from Saudi Arabia under instruction, guidance, and training from Osama bin Laden? Yeah, lots of questions, right? Yeah, the feds took them away. Do we know they were feds, Northern Pike? Or do we just know they were powerful operatives, showed up in a van, threw them in there like they threw Hillary Clinton in the Scooby-Doo van when she passed out at the 9/11 memorial back in 2016 when she was running for president? Yeah, we don't know who exactly. We just know they're fucking spooks. Spooks used in general to refer to high-level militant operatives who are carrying out a mission. What I find disgusting and reprehensible is Americans who have taken an oath to defend and uphold the Constitution of the United States and defend it from all enemies, foreign and domestic, that they are willing as CIA, FBI, NSA, or some other fucking spook bullshit mercenary position that they're willing to sell this country out for a little bit of money and to feel like they're powerful and part of the winning team because they have the authority to do all kinds of awful shit, from derailing trains to blowing up and causing explosions in fucking refineries and substations and setting forest fires. It's a dirty world. Dirty world. Thank you, everyone, for being here. We're 300 people live today. I wish it was 450. I know it's a holiday weekend. So we're actually got a great crowd here. You guys have been fucking great, and we got more to go. We're in our last half hour of the show. As long as there's super chats, I'll be here to talk. Once we're done, we'll wrap it up. Go get some sleep. I will be taking tomorrow off. Martin Luther King Jr. Day. I need to rest and recover. Took a tumble last week. Bruised my ribs pretty bad. Fucked my shoulder up pretty good. I need one more day of rest. I'll take it. But for now, well, the medicine you guys have been giving me, whoop, whoop. Mastery's bourbon whiskey, and of course the Glenfiddich 18. That's what I call medicine. All right, let's do it. Ooh, man, who's up next on the Prepared Mind channel? And it's Big Dan, the man with a $5 super chat. And he says, when you moved from California to Florida, how did you get your pew-pews and ammo over there legally, crossing other states? Moving in 2 years out of here. Okay. I went from California to the RMZ. I went from the RMZ to Florida. I did not take my pew-pews to the RMZ. I had self-defense items, but not my California purchased pew-pews, if you will, guns. I had plenty of self-defense that I got while I was there. The green tank I had put on a ship and shipped across the water to get to the RMZ, and then it was shipped back to America and delivered to my place of existence in Florida. Same with all of my goodies. It got put in basically a shipping box and shipped there. Now, when it comes to the ammunition and pew-pews, it was all moved lawfully, legally transported from there to here by private courier. All my stacks of ammo cans, all my stacks of boxes, all of my magazines, scopes, all of my high-tech goodies and shit I did not send to the RMZ were shipped here lawfully. I know that you're thinking of getting out of the state you're in, the state of Washington. For the most part, you can drive wherever you want. Crossing state lines is tricky. I recommend looking at every state and making sure that you comply with their firearms transportation rules. Like I said, I had a private courier company who specializes in discreetly and lawfully moving goodies. It was not easy to get it done. It required the use of a good friend who maintained possession of certain boxes until I was ready to have them shipped to me wherever that was to be. But yes, everything was done legally. And that's the important thing. I don't recommend anyone do anything unlawfully, ever. But I know California is an awful, awful, awful fucking state. Up north, where I was at in the extreme northern California, the sheriffs up there were basically, like many sheriffs around the country, fuck you to the governor. But they have rules. You can't even give your guns to your kids there. You can't sell your ammunition without a fucking permit. They have so many ridiculous, retarded fucking rules. I don't even know which ones they still try and enforce, because most of them lose in court because they're unlawful. They're unconstitutional. They're fucking retarded. They're impossible to enforce. And it's that way over most of the country. With the good news, Dan, is with Trump in office and the United States Supreme Court ruling as it has the last couple of decades, but especially in the last few years, the Supreme Court is basically ruled, the right to carry is a right. And there are actually Supreme Court decisions that say the government may not take a right and turn it into a privilege and charge you a fee or tax to exercise your right. And that should apply to driving. I take that back. That should apply to traveling, but it doesn't. And they require us to get driver's licenses even though we don't drive, which is to act in a commercial capacity. No cop gives a fuck about the law. They'll just arrest your dumb ass. I've looked into it. Keep your fucking license plates on your car. Pay your fucking registration. Get a freaking driver's license and don't cause yourself grief because it's not worth the fucking battle. These people will fucking shoot you. And judges will throw the fucking book at you because they don't understand law. Back to guns again. With respect to guns, there are very few states that are continuing to try and fuck people out of their rights. So if you have to travel across the country from Washington, avoid a couple of states in the middle to get to wherever you're going. Just fucking drive around them. For $100 in fuel, drive the fuck around the bad states. To guarantee that if you get pulled over, is there a problem, officer? Okay, just so you know, I'm moving from state X to state Y, and I'm just traveling through state Z. Sorry about that. Anyways, do your homework, make sure you're comfortable, get her done, or find a moving company that can move things for you. You may want to look into something like, what do they call those? Pack Rat and Rover and Pack and Store and Pack and Move. These companies that give you a shipping container, you put your shit in it, you lock it up, and they'll tell you what you can and can't put in there. So be careful not to put any spray paint or flammable liquids. All right, let's continue if we shall. We've got, about 15 minutes left. Let's do it. Mr. Uman, who's next on the Prepared Mind channel? You guys have been great tonight. Hey, it's Dan the Man with a $2 super chat. He says, what happened to the Friday night show? Dan, I mentioned that I bruised some ribs, that I injured my shoulder. As a consequence, Friday night, I didn't do Friday Zero Dark 30 either. I was so banged up on day 2 after being injured that I had a hard time breathing. I couldn't breathe normally and talk because my ribs got more and more bruised over the course of a couple of days. And consequently, I didn't want to aggravate it or sound like a wheezing old fuck. I just needed the day off. I needed to rest my lungs, rest my ribs, rest my shoulder. So now, feeling much better, right? Feeling much better. It hurts a little, but still, at least I can function. I was not going to miss tonight. By golly, come hell or high water. And, well, of course, the liquid medicine has helped along the way. Anyways, thank you, Big Dan, for the great support. Pal, Mr. Uman. I know we got more stuff. I've got some stuff I want to cover. Northern Pike is back with $2. And he says, Silver, your thoughts, get a 5-ounce round. Oh, that sounds like your thought is buy some silver. Man, I don't know if the markets have opened. I know tomorrow's an American holiday, but I don't think in China or anywhere else on the planet they celebrate Martin Luther King Jr. Day. So I'm imagining that tonight the Asian market will open. And it's going to open up and they're going to trade, well, all the commodities as usual, as well as silver and gold. Silver. Silver has gone up 300% in the last 12 months. It hasn't even begun to reprice itself. All it's been allowed to do is get away because of the shortage. There's a dozen factors affecting the price of silver, everywhere from political decisions to regulatory issues, to means of supply, means of refining, means of production, means of distribution, tariffs. There's environmental restrictions, rules, guidelines. There's all kinds of issues that are governing it. Uman says the charts aren't registering, but it shows a new 52-week high of 94.36. Sounds like it gapped up again. If it's sitting at 94.36 in the charts, that means it's at a new all-time high. Now, when it comes to issues, I've told people to buy silver since I started buying it when I had money and I lived in California in my fifth wheel. I had reserve capital back then, and I was buying silver. First time was at $17.89, and the average spot price was $1. It was like $1.50 for a silver eagle, and it was like a buck for a maple leaf, and it was like 75 cents or 69 cents Nikkei for a round, meaning a generic 1 ounce round, typically stamped with the buffalo and the Indian head. They're beautiful, but they're not sovereign, so at a low premium on top of it. It's under $20. So you can basically look at the amount I got back then when it was so damn cheap, $20. Now it's almost $100. By the time you add in the premium now, you're looking at $110 an ounce for an eagle, if you can get them. If you can get a 2026 eagle, you may be waiting 4, 6, 8, 12 fucking weeks. Who knows? If you can get it. Now, silver, gold is gold. Gold is money. Gold is not used industrially. A tiny, we're talking 0.001% of gold gets used industrially. It doesn't conduct electricity as well as silver, so why not use silver? There's very few applications where gold is required. It's used in jewelry, but it's money. Silver, on the other hand, I used to lament that it was an industrial metal. I'm like, no, silver's money. The word money in many languages is translated directly silver, silver, money, money, silver. But I was like, why industrially? That's fucking stupid. It's blah, 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 blah. Yeah, it gets used industrially in electric motors, batteries, electronics, chips, weapons, as in military weapons, solar panels. It is consumed. Everything takes silver. Even this stupid little remote control has a microscopic amount of silver because it dissipates heat, it conducts electricity, it's flexible, literally, it's reflective, it's where it's used industrially, it cannot be substituted. For example, a solar panel, they can use copper in it, but copper does not transmit electrical, right? It's not electrically conductive the way silver is. So it's not as efficient. You're not going to get as much power out of a solar panel with copper. Furthermore, copper corrodes in that application. It cannot be used because it corrodes and it loses efficiency very quickly. On top of that, it corrodes so badly it'll fail in like 5 years. Whereas silver is 100% conductive, lasts 25 years. And it takes for one solar panel, standard, like a 2.5 foot by 4 foot solar panel, it takes 1 to 2 ounces, depending on the model of solar panel. But I think most of them are closer to 1. That's it. You got to use silver. Silver is it. So you can't substitute and replace it. There is so much call for silver now for solar panels in China, solar panels in India, not to mention solar panels in America. The solar panel that I had in the RMZ was South Korean. It was a South Korean panel. They work. It's magical, man. Sunlight, electricity, crazy, right? So they're using that. The new solid state silver cathode anode batteries, amazing. They're going to consume silver there. It's used in medical devices. No other metal works. It's antiviral, antimicrobial, keeps things clean, beautiful, shiny, polished silver. They're consuming too much silver. Now there's a shortage. There's been a structural shortage for the last 5 or 6 years, meaning the world consumes over 830 million ounces, which is what the world produces. Here's where the rubber meets the road and why this number, 9436, is too low. I'm going to get into this. I know I'm running out of time. I got 10 minutes. Okay, cool. I need another fucking shot. My ribs are hurting. So you guys have been good. I'm going to take a quickie here for medicinal purposes. And then we'll get back into what is going on with commodities. Yes, sir. Bam. Okay. Silver is in a structural or mining deficit. They're consuming, going through more than they could. I believe Australia and Canada, they've all given up their silver reserves. I think the United States did it back in the 80s. They've just put it out into the public. Get rid of that shit. Get rid of that shit. Get rid of that shit. But it's been consumed slowly consumed. Now there's not enough. Silver has become indispensable in the computer age, the forever wars age, technology age. I mean, the solid state battery, solid state's what they had technology when I was a kid. So they're using it in high tech and solid state technology purposes. You can't get more silver. The reason is 70% of silver comes from lead, zinc, copper, and sometimes the gold mines. They get a little bit of silver out of there, but you have to increase production in those to get more silver. But that's like 1% of their income. They're not going to spend all the money to get more copper just to get a little more silver to satisfy these idiots. Even if they did, it wouldn't be enough. It wouldn't be enough. So this is where the rubber meets the road. This is the point. I'm finally getting to it. I'm circling back Jen Psaki style, except I know how to actually circle back. Companies like Tesla, Samsung, Chinese solar power manufacturers, Chinese EV manufacturers. The EV manufacturers in China produce more EVs than Tesla. I think the leading manufacturer produces more than like all the other manufacturers combined. They use silver in all of their electronics, as well as they're creating silver batteries. Every company out there realizes now there's a fucking shortage. They used to go and say they'll buy for Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, so on. They'll make purchases in January for April, the first month, to have it shipped for the next quarter. And then April, they would go for July. So they get the third quarter materials they need, right? Kind of a just-in-time inventory thing. We're going to order what we need now, but no more. Now they're like, there's a structural deficit. There's a shortage. Sources are unreliable. China now has an export barrier. You cannot export silver out of China without a government permit that's approved. You paid your bills, bought off your officials, etc. In other words, silver is not going to leave China the way it used to. Silver in China that is processed from concentrate or sludge, they do 70% of the world's silver refining. There is now a bottleneck coming out of China. And then all these companies, instead of buying one quarter at a time, they're now trying to buy a year's worth of silver at one time. So instead of just buying as they go, buying what they need, they're hoarding silver. Give me a year's worth. Poof. Now we don't have to worry about it for a year. Start working on next year and try and get years worth at a time. So everyone is going to hoard it. South Korea is going to try and hoard it. China definitely is going to hoard it. America is going to want to hoard it. Europe is going to want to hoard it. Every manufacturer, every company, every government that sees it. The United States government says it's a critical mineral for American national security. That would be military industrial complex. They are hoarding it now, meaning there's not going to be a fucking nothing left. Like crumb on the floor that the mouse would get. No, it's gone. They're fighting and scrapping over the silver. The President of the United States has now signed a Section 232. It is a strategic national asset, national reserve, critical mineral on the reserve that the government needs to protect. Meaning, he knows that silver is going to leave America if it's $94 an ounce, and China is willing to pay $110 an ounce. There's a great sucking sound, as Ross Perot said back in 1992, describing how industry was going to leave America if the government allowed them to go to China to get cheap labor, cheap raw materials. And they did. And our great factories, our great production lines left for fucking China. Our silver is leaving for China. Our copper leaves for China. Our zinc leaves for China. Our cobalt, our nickel, our good metals leave for China because China is willing to pay more than market value to get them. Market value in America controlled by bankers. Yes, yes, yes. The bankers, it's easier for them to make money short selling everything, including silver and gold, because it's easy to scare investors away by doing a short sale, slamming the price, scaring the investors out, clearing all the weak hands, and then they buy it back at a discount. Then the investors come back, oh, it must be safe. The water's fine. They bring it up, and then bam, they short sell it and knock it way the fuck down again, triggering stop losses the whole way. Investors run, hedge funds run, everyone fucking runs. It used to take 2 months, 3 months, 4 months just to get it to start to go back up again before they'd knock it down. And then 3 or 4 months to get it up. Now they knock it down, wham! Everyone goes, it's on sale, buy it. Right back up, same fucking day. I've seen it happen 2 times in a day. There is a shortage and everyone's fighting for it. The president said, no more of this. You're giving our shit away. You're knocking it down cheap, and China fucking buys it. They take the money, they take the metal, and they send it out of the fucking country. We need silver. There's a shortage. It's not coming back. So, Section 232, critical minerals list, critical minerals list. We're in a commodity war. It's an economic war. It's a commodity war. It's a technology war. It is everything except, well, missiles are flying. Northern Pike with the $5 super chat says, silver, get 5 your thoughts on tariffs, Greenland squeeze, U.S. banks, gold, no trade back to Europe at 10%. They're stuck. We got a lobster. We get a lobster. All right, I've touched on some of this, right? China won't even let it go unless they want to, and there's a huge tariff. There's a surcharge, a value-added tax, a VAT tax. All of these are ways to punish people for trying to get protective materials, money, wealth, out of the banks, away from the fiat currencies, which are subject to inflation. If silver's gone up 300% in the last 12 months, it's tripled in value, 300%. It's not 110%. You didn't get 108%. I got 8%. Woo! No, 300%. It's risen 300%. I don't think it's going to stop because these corporations are doing what they're doing. Can we go back to Northern Pike there? He had a couple other little tidbits I wanted to touch on, but I did see Blue Cord Devil rewarding me with some medicine. There we go. So Greenland. Greenland is a whole nother topic. It has to do with rare earths, critical minerals, including silver and other metals. They're pushing it. I don't know if they're going to just sell. Allegedly, the Greenlanders want us to take it over. Allegedly, they don't. Allegedly, Europe is going to send military over there to protect it from the U.S. Greenland is still what I consider to be a developing fuck-up of a problem. We'll find out. Tariffs and the shortage, I've given it to you. The squeeze on the USA banks. Quickly and briefly, I described how the banks, they short the shit out of it to drop it so they can buy it back nice and cheap, and then they make the rest of this upper part in profit. But they beat it down, and instantly people buy it back up. Well, now they've sold at this level, but they keep pushing higher and higher and higher and higher and higher and higher. Now the banks owe the difference. Instead of a short sell-off, they're getting a short squeeze. Well, they sold at $80 an ounce, but it's now $90 an ounce. They owe $10 on every fucking ounce that they shorted. All the banks are squeezed, all of them. I'm talking bullion banks, Chase, JP Morgan, these types of banks, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, those types, big banks, Citigroups, USBC, these big banks. How much? I don't know anymore. The rumor was that JP Morgan got out. They're done. I don't know because I'm not one of them. I'm not the bank, and everyone fucking lies. All these reporters, all you can do is look at the price action. People like Michael Oliver of Momentum Structural Analysis, they look at the underlying activities and they can see patterns and realize how fucked up things are. The banks are toast. The short squeeze, they're shorted. There's two things that can happen. They can pay out of their pockets and pay for their loss on their shorts, which is they have to buy shares to pay it back, means the price is going to shoot up higher. The 232 section, put a floor in it. Trump is going to put a floor in it somewhere. If he says, well, China's paying 110, so we're going to pay 110 and our silver stays in our country, what happens? I heard one commentator finally get to this and get it fucking right. Not that I'm claiming to be an expert, folks. This is not investment advice. But I've been watching this motherfucking game for 40 fucking years. Okay, I've been watching intently since 2016. So China's here. The United States is down here. Just a little lower, right? Just a little lower. So American silver gets shipped to China because it's higher. So Trump says, we're going to do a Section 232. We're going to put a floor in it to protect American silver investments. So we're going to do 115. China's 110, just under. Well, China's like, fuck that. We'll give you 125. Oh, yeah, says America. Well, the government says we've got to protect our interests. Let's go up to 130. Just above China. Well, China's like, fuck that. We're going to go to 140. You see, they're going to keep bidding it up. The problem with silver is typically there will be demand destruction because the price increase is so punitive that no one will buy the products. Fewer people buy the products. Therefore, that company needs to buy less of something like copper or zinc or nickel. And so that the higher price, cure for higher prices, creates demand destruction. So the demand drops back down to the supply level. Silver cannot be substituted in solar, in the battery, in military equipment, in medical equipment. There's nothing that can replace silver where it's used. It's already expensive. But let's just say your solar panel uses 1 ounce of silver. Your solar panel cost, fuck, the one I bought that was South Korean back in 2020 cost $1,200 fucking dollars. Right? $1,200 is a lot of money for one fucking panel. Back then, silver was $20 an ounce. You raise that to $100. Okay, so now the panel, instead of costing $1,200, costs $1,300. Not much difference. Right? Not much difference. People will be willing to pay that. Governments will be willing to pay when the silver is just a fraction of the overall product cost. Silver batteries. There's a bank of these batteries. They've got, well, currently, or back a year ago, it had been $1,000 in silver for these batteries. Now it's $3,000 for the batteries. On a $100,000 fucking Mercedes-Benz EV, who gives a shit about an extra $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000? They will pay it. It cannot be substituted to get the performance that silver has. Therefore, demand destruction will not bring the demand down. We're going to have an extended issue, technology, military, medical, solar, everything, computers, everything. All these AI computers, super high-speed processors that burn 100 times the electricity. Matter and energy cannot be destroyed. It can only be converted from one to the other. They're converting energy into electronic signal. It creates as a byproduct heat. That's the energy. You need silver to handle the energy in these high-tech AI computer mainframe fucking data centers. Silver everywhere. Silver is going to go through the fucking roof. There's no stopping it. It's just how long until we get there, how fast. Silver for me, even though I've just got a little bit, has been a wonderful investment to watch. I wish I was like some friends I know that could afford, 10,000 ounces of silver. I couldn't afford that, fuck, right? But that guy has now tripled his money, if not 4 times. It's just an old friend of mine that was into silver also. And I know I've gone on and on about silver, but it is symptomatic of a problem on this planet. More than just monetary, more than just production capacity, technology. It is symptomatic of the overall problem. A lack of investment in intelligent thinking to make sure we're fine for our futures. Communists have no idea of the future. They just want to steal your shit today. Bankers don't think about the future. They just want to steal your shit today. Muslims, idiots from the Middle East, don't think about the future. They just think about their religious wars today. If it was not for Europe and America and our close allies who are civilized and understand math and aren't retards, have these countries, these nations have created a technological world in which we all have a higher standard of living. But these dumb motherfuckers won't stop stealing, won't stop destroying, won't stop killing, won't stop committing genocide for their wacko religious belief systems and greed. As a consequence, shit has hit the fan, which is why we all need to be prepared for what comes next. But John, you can't eat silver. Yeah, I know. You can't drink silver either. But I don't feel like destroying myself because of someone who says I can't. That's why I have prepared. Mr. Uman, let's do it. I got some more super chats at the end of the show. Dan the man with a $5. He says, the Somalia people in Minnesota pirates without their boats milking the government system on a level never seen before. You know what's amazing about this, Big Dan? As bad as Minnesota is, where the hell is it? It's that direction. As bad as Minnesota is, billions of dollars stolen. The researchers, the investigators are looking at the state of California. The governor of California is now interfering with researchers, investigators, looking into public records to see how many of these Somalis, Mexicans, Guatemalans, Panamanians, Colombians, Venezuelans, name the country. How much they've stolen there is going to make Minnesota look like the first inning of a slugfest baseball game. California, Illinois, New York. They're all pirates. They're fucking thieves. They're murderers. And that includes bankers, businessmen, politicians. They're every bit as fucking dirty because they're allowing it, they're promoting it, they're facilitating it, and they're participating in it. Woo! Thank you, Big Dan. Super chat. And then I think do we have one more? What's out there, Mr. Uman? Oh, yes. Blue Cord Devil back with a $50 super chat donation. With his usual, shall we say, plea or prayer, he's going to buy me one last shot, some medicine to help knock my ass out and take the pain away. Once again, SHTF medicine, you need food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, medicine. Alcohol is medicine. It's a muscle relaxant. It's a painkiller. It's a depressant. It's an antidepressant. It's a friend maker. It's a social libation. It is a topical antiseptic. And it's a thirst quencher. Thank you, Blue Cord Devil. Scotch. Literally, the first alcohol I ever got drunk on, age 17. Got so drunk, puked my guts out, swore I'd never drink this stuff that tastes like wood again. And lo and behold, got older and developed a taste and a respect for Scotch and all alcohol. So it's not abused. I'm not an alcoholic. I quit every day, go to sleep. I don't need to drink in the middle of the night. Just like man, I'm able to get up and go to work. Anyways, I joke, I keyed. But here we are, folks. Blue Court says, peace and prayers, John, Jolene, man, and everyone else. Watch your six. Stay calm, stay armed. Check in on your older neighbors, check your preps, and fill in what you are short on. Go to thepreparedmind.club, C-L-U-B. It is our flagship website, thepreparedmind.club. You can get all your prepper items there, short of things that I can't sell because I don't have the proper licenses. But all in all, you go to thepreparedmind.club, look for what you're interested in, click on the button, takes you to their store where they can legally sell you what you need: food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. They'll ship it to you. They'll take care of all the business. I am just a conduit through which people are directed to get prepared, because chance favors the prepared mind. Is yours? That is the question. God bless America. Get prepared. Semper Fi means always faithful. From one American, one Marine, to all Americans and all vets and all active duty, everyone who loves the red, white, and blue, our Constitution, our history and culture, whether you're an American or Canadian or Australian or New Zealander, a Brit, a Scot, one of the Welsh or the Irish, over on the continent, in the Netherlands, France, Germany, Italy, Spain, Portugal. Yeah, I got an email from a Frenchman. I want to say merci beaucoup. Je m'appelle Jean. Je parle français, comme ci, comme ça. Anyways, love you all. I'll see you guys soon.